It's been good. It's been the best year yet. So,
as long as every year's that.
Yeah, and it's and it's not like it's funny too because it's like I've been doing it long enough to know that this is exactly what I want to be doing, but I've been doing it short enough to know that it's not forever, and I will know when it's time to be done type thing.
Yeah.
Not like App and Self where they're like that's all they ever do, so they don't know anything else. Like they don't know real jobs, you know.
Right.
So I mean,
what do they do?
I mean, ultimately, what I put the bug in their ears. Like I think of like cool things. Like I mean, I have these ideas of just like cool jobs to do that won't like make a lot of like hassle, but you know, we go on tour and we handle everything ourselves. Okay, they taught me everything I know about touring, about how to talk to promoters and do VIPs and set up ticket sales and get that money and make it work on top of being a professional performer and showing up early and stuff like that, and the fun side of it, but the business side of it, where you have to like plan the routing and you have to do all this behind the scenes stuff as well as perform to the best of your ability.
Right. Yeah.
So, we call ourselves the Tour Lords, which is great. Like you know, we hashtag Tour Lords because no one does it better than us. Other artists rely on like outside sources and they pay people to do it and stuff like that. Why would we pay people to do it when we can do it?
Why don't you get paid to do that for other people?
Well, that's what we were saying. But once our time rapping and on the mic is over, why not us start a business, not called the Tour Lords. I want to call it the Tour Lords, but that's a little bit too corny. And find artists that want to tour and say, pay us X amount of dollars, and Apathy will be in charge of this, and Self-Titled will be in charge of this, and N.M.E will be in charge of this. Because I know merchandising, I know driving, I know all about the VIP and advancing the show and dealing with promoters and putting them in headlocks and stuff like that sometimes. Yeah. But that is ultimately an idea that would be a moneymaker because there's always going to be bands and there's always going to be rappers that want to get out there and tour that have no idea how to do it. When I first started, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, no, that's a real business.
Yeah.
And I think actually now it's almost more important than ever because artists can't rely on their music making the money anymore. You have to rely on the tour to make money. It
doesn't make money, which stinks.
It's not about arena tours. It's about these little, like...
It's about the smaller shows, but they're intimate.
Yeah.
And there, I mean, we will have artists that will do those arena tours and stuff, but I don't want to, like, crush kids' dreams and stuff, but I'm like, guys, that's like a 1 in a million shot, right?
Yeah.
And you don't see it, but a lot of those people that came up, like, even the rappers nowadays that, like, are coming up because they have money invested already to get those plays on the radio and to get the promotion out there and stuff like that. They weren't discovered by some producer or some A&R that went to a show and saw this star on stage and was like, "Ooh, he's got star quality. That day is dead."
I think so many people, when an artist does come out on the scene and becomes popular, they're like, "Oh wow, they made that song like last week and now they're famous."
Nope.
It's like you look at their bio, they were literally hustling for 10 years doing these shows and then they got discovered. Like it's not the way people think it.
Yeah, it's all the perception of like what happens and where right place at the right time type thing. But a lot of times it's like people have the money already invested in it, and it's just to get to that point where I don't know. I'm kind of like the exception to the rule where I'm just lucky and blessed to be where I'm at just by doing music and stuff. And I'm like a right place at the right time kind of guy because I always invest. You know, I always invested in myself, like with merchandise and stuff like that. But never was I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of like do what I want at all times and kind of just do what felt right and kind of worked as hard as humanly possible, even doing the wrong things, just doing it a lot until it became the right thing. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing.
So how long have you been
do we start?
We've already started.
Oh. I was like, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to use up all the stories.
Back to basics, yeah, I'm back to it. Talking cheap, you got beef, I got music. I'm trying to kill it, at the same time create it. You're looking at the greatest when I bring it back to basics. Back to basics, yeah, I'm back to it. Talking sheep, you got beef, I got music. I'm trying to kill it, at the same time create it. You're looking at the greatest when I bring it back to basics. Cracked open the notebook years since you heard a flow this good. Strange my hiatus made you forget and overlook. Saturation of average MCs waiting to take the limelight away from CT's savior. Been flying my flow ever since I was a zygote. Simple Simon rappers need to shut your pie hole. Span the divide, walking a life's tightrope, throwing out lines. Now everyone's in the lifeboat. Struggle for air bubble, rubber necks above water. Bulletin, printed articles of me cleaning up. Cause I mentioned the fact this album's for the people. Knowledge of the culture is lost and then steamrolled. Flat and the same, all this new rapping is lame. My reaction is simple to the hammers and cane. Let's turn swords to plowshares, put the music on track. I may have been gone for a minute, but now I'm back to basics. Yeah, I'm back to it. Talking sheep, you got beef, I got music. I'm trying to kill it, at the same time create it. You're looking at the greatest when I bring it back to basics. Back to basics.
Yeah, we've already started.
Okay.
Welcome. Listening to the new episodes here.
You tricked me. I like that.
As always, I'm the host, Chad Davis. Today, I got special co-host Jason Dawson.
What's up?
From episode 1, and
I didn't know he started either until I looked over and I saw it recording. And I was like, all right, we're going. So let's keep it going.
I like to keep it he's more formal, and
yeah.
It's not a question
no, I like
answer
it.
kind of thing. Yeah. And today's guest is local rapper Daniel Johnson.
N.M.E the Illest.
N.M.E the Illest.
Yeah, my government name.
So, how long have you been in the quote unquote rap game?
Rap game, it's tough because I've rapped since I was a kid. I decided when I was in the military, I was in the Air Force. I wanted to pursue my lifelong dream of becoming a state trooper and be a cop. So I joined the Air Force and was a cop in the Air Force. And I met these kids that rapped out when I was stationed out in Hawaii, and we became rappers. And we became good rappers, and kids loved this and stuff. So when I got out, I was like, maybe this was like 2002. Let's try it out. So I did tons of local shows.
Yeah.
Around 2002. Between 2002 and 2005, 2006, it was just all Norwich, Jewett City, anywhere, like trying to go to New York and do Boston shows and whatnot. But that was like big time then.
Oh, yeah.
And it was way far out to do shows there, and it was just kind of like we just kept it. We built our fan base locally, and that's what's very important. That's what I tell younger artists nowadays. They just want to have fans all over right away on the internet, and that's cool. But I believe that you need a solid local foundation to support you no matter what, so that if you come home and do a welcome home show, the place will be packed and it'll be like a reunion type thing. I just like the nostalgic feel of it also. So after like 2005 and 2006, went on my first rap tour, which we could say now. Back then, we were like, "Oh man, it's awesome." It was a flop, and it was not good. We left for. I went on this. I quit one of my jobs to go on this tour with this the independent label I was on. Quit my job, was like this. That's it. This is my chance, and we made it about 3-4 shows in, and then it flopped. So we had to come back home, and then. Myself, Scobie One, Eric Lamb, our DJs, they went by the name Def Disco at the time. It was Kid Disco and Def Smith. We went on this road trip to the Midwest, and we were going to go out to Traverse City, Michigan, and come back home. And we had like 8 or 9 shows booked, and that was a nightmare also because the promoter, he booked the shows months in advance, called the venues up, and like, hey, we got these guys coming from Connecticut. How does it sound? They're like, cool, yeah, we have that date open. Okay, bye, click. Never called back to double check, never called back to send them flyers to promote. So we were showing up to venues. We showed up to one venue, and they were like, who are you guys? They were like, we have a contract right here that says you give us food and a case of water and $100. They're like, we already have a show tonight. We just drove. We're in some middle Sandusky, Ohio or something like that, ready to do a show. We haven't eaten in like a day or two. We're like, oh, we're going to get food tonight. This is great. We're going to get water tonight. We show up. They've never heard of us. So we had to like beg the other artists that were performing that night to let us perform, which meant no food, no money, no water, like on to the next show. It was just one bad thing after another. I have it all on video. Like I brought my camera, and there's a great video of one of our DJs like lighting up the promoter and being like, "We're sitting here in a Walmart parking lot in the middle of nowhere," and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, "Is this what touring is about? Is this what I'm going to do forever? Because I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this forever."
What are the promoters like?
Promoters like, I don't know what you want me to do, man. I don't know. I booked the show. It's your job when you're on the road to advance the show and contact the promoter and da-da-da-da. And we had no idea. I had no idea about any of this. I thought we showed up, rapped, got paid, and left.
Yeah.
Nope. But that helped me along the way of, like, when I started touring with the Demigodz, it was like a new world because they had a lot of stuff that was already taken care of, and they had a lot of things that were already set in place. So the stuff that I was trying to figure out along the way, they already had. So I just kind of picked up on that and made sure that I was doing the right thing with them. And they taught me the way to talk to promoters and the way to show up early and deal with these VIP guys that are paying extra, and they put me in charge of the money. And after a while, more responsibility came along where I said, why don't I just take on responsibility of tour manager so they don't have to, add value to myself to be on tour, because I'm great performer. Pat myself on the back for that. And I wanted to be more. I wanted to be an asset to the team, because not only are they like guys I look up to as far as artists, but they became my friends, and I'll if you're my friend, I'll do anything for you guys, and I like to help them out and to make their life easier. That's what I try to work my butt off and do as much as I possibly can with that. So long story short, since about 2002-ish, seriously, when I decided I wanted to make, in 2002, between 02 and 05, was a rough time, because I was that meme that you read on the internet that says, if you're ever having a bad day, just remember there's some kid from your hometown trying to make it as a rapper. And I was like, for the longest time, I would see that, and I would kind of chuckle to myself, but I was that guy that was like, I was working in a coffee shop, handing out my demo CDs and selling T-shirts to like 8 to 10 kids, and after a while, the buzz started getting bigger, but even people that were my friends would come up to me and say, "What are you doing? Like, what are you trying to be, like a real rapper? Are you trying to rap? Like, is that a thing? You really think people will listen to your music and stuff?" And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I like to rap, and I like to perform, and I like to be the center of attention. So why not just keep it moving? And for a little while, there was like, should I quit? Should I not do this anymore? Because I've never heard of like a rapper from like a one-horse town like Jewett City, coming up or doing anything greater than just a local thing. And then it became like every Joe Schmo. Like when I met you, when I worked at Guitar Center, Jay, everybody started rapping, and everyone was buying studios for their house. So it wasn't like, oh, you have a friend that raps, so he's like the king. It's like, oh, you rap? So do I. So does my cousin. So does my neighbor. Listen to me rap. And I'm like, oh, gosh.
And you as the one rapper who wants to, like,
that takes it seriously.
Is selling all this gear, all these studios selling other rappers.
I mean,
you're hurting yourself.
I know it. But I figured I would have that niche of, like, you have to reinvent yourself, and I would rap when I first started. There was lots of punchlines, and kind of, like, listen to a lot of Redman and N.M.E and stuff, and they have great, like, the way they flip words and the way they have punchlines and stuff like that, and just the influence on that. Then I started gearing more towards like the people that were listening to my music, so I started doing a little bit more heartfelt stuff and more story stuff about myself, because people knew me, and I always laugh when I'm at shows and I say, thanks for coming out. If you like what you hear, buy a CD. If you don't like what you hear, buy a T-shirt. Because people like me to begin with, thank goodness, and I become friends with people, and people buy my merch and don't even listen to my music sometimes, which, thank you,
that's awesome.
But I make music. I was like, I want people to hear the music. So, to try to set myself apart, I would sit at home and try to think of, like, ways that I could advance without, like, putting on a shiny suit and tap dancing and doing that corny, like, Vanilla Ice stuff, where I'm like, how can I advance my music career, in quotes, to the next level without trying to make that extreme jump and stuff. And just little by little, I learned stuff along the way. and just did every single show I possibly could to get out there, where you couldn't deny that N.M.E the Illest was here and there and there and there and there. And how are you doing so many shows? And I don't know. I lost sleep and lost girlfriends, really, what it was. So it was just, it was great. It was like, it was like a risk that I had to take, and sacrificing a lot of things just to try to make that conscious decision to be like, either I'm going to do it as a hobby and just hang out and hopefully people like my stuff, or just put it in people's faces and then be like a force to be reckoned with where they couldn't deny me. And that's what kind of put me to the edge too, because it's like the guy, do you remember Bob Bell? Big guy that used to come into Guitar Center, biker?
Yeah, he was part of the
Deathmasters.
Yeah, Deathmasters. Yep. Yeah, because I used to DJ for him.
Yeah, and he's the guy that coined the phrase "the hardest working MC in Connecticut." Mm-hmm. And because he would see me doing all these shows. There was nights where I'd do a show in Boston and then drive to Hartford the same night, do an early show in Boston and then drive to Hartford the same night, or do New Haven and New London, 2 rap shows. And he's like, "How do you do it?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just kind of have adrenaline and I love music and I love to perform, and to have enough people in New Haven that want to see me and enough people in New London that want to see me. That to me is like a dream, because those are 2 separate small states. We live in a small state, but you know, the 203 side and the 860 side are worlds apart sometimes.
We separated. Yeah.
And as it's so weird, because even like traveling around on tour, I've noticed that some of the bigger states have more of like a musical unity than even Connecticut or Rhode Island. Because I'll go to Rhode Island and there's some rappers like, "You ever heard of such and such?" And I'll ask them and they're like, "Never heard of them." Literally blocks away, awesome rappers, never heard of each other. You know, it makes me a little bit sad. So I just try to work as hard as humanly possible and not stop, and not do it as a jerky way where I'm trying to like outdo people or one up people, or almost to do it to inspire these kids to say, "Listen, I'm proof. You know me. You can shake my hand. You can hug me. I'm proof." It's not like you see this kid on TV, like MTV, This Is My Life, or whatever that show was, where, "Oh, I made it as a rapper," and stuff like that. I don't know Joe Schmo rapper, you know, but you know me, and you can see that I'm actually doing it. You see the hard work that I put in. It didn't happen overnight. I didn't get discovered. I just worked my ass off. And that's, you know.
Yeah, I think you kind of embody 2 things that I always tell DJs that are coming up, which is, A, you have to want it hard enough. Mm-hmm. You have to want it bad enough. If you don't want it bad enough, you're not going to put the work in that it takes, which you obviously do. Mm-hmm. And I think the other... I think I just lost my train of thought. But no, the other is you have to go out there and be constantly doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because the people that are watching you and are your fans, they're invested in you. And if you're not out there working hard and proving yourself that you're always working as hard as you do, then they're going to lose that investment.
And also, it's harder nowadays to do that because kids follow you on social media, Instagram and Twitter, Snapchat and Facebook. And if you're not, I tell the guys I rap with nowadays, even the guys that are in my studio and stuff, I said, "Guys, you have to have content all the time." Gary Vee said it. Yeah. Always have constant content.
Gary Vee, shout out Gary Vee.
Shout out to Gary Vee. I listen to Gary Vee podcast. He inspires me to do better, and to have that one. I'm not to the extreme level that he is, where he's an animal. He's like a Terminator, like a cyborg Terminator. I'm like, I don't know, like a Disney animated feature version of it. But that constant content, relevant content, you can't just post anything because people will unfollow you. You know, there's that fine line of doing your homework, sitting at home and being like, "All right, I can drop this at noon. I can drop this at 4 p.m. I can drop this at 11 p.m. When I'm doing my live videos with Strife every Tuesday, we see what the people are doing at noon. At 2, at 4, when are we going to do this video? Because sometimes we have a ton of viewers, sometimes we have 2, 4 viewers, and it's like, well, they'll get the replay and they'll watch it later, but I want that interaction now on the live videos. But it's the constant moving forward and the constant... Now, like, they have to see you working hard so they know that their investment is, you know...
Is worthwhile.
It's worthwhile, and it's a lot of pressure on the artist, because back in the day, it was like, okay, I'm going to do a show, I'm going to hand out a flyer for June 15th. Won't see it till June 15th, and then when you come to the show, you'll see if it was worth it. It's almost taking a chance. Nowadays, they follow you every day. This is my lunch, this is my dinner, this is me in shopping, this is a selfie of me at the park. You know, they're like, why aren't you in the studio? When's the new music coming out? They have that constant poke the line in the cage, you know, type thing.
And it's like kind of twofold. It's kind of like a push to do it, and then it's like, ugh.
Enough already sometimes. Yeah, it is the push to do it. It is that constant reminder, because if it wasn't like that, I'll tell you straight up from my heart, I would take more time off and be like, I'm a procrastinator. You know, I love to play video games, so I'm like, I'll just play a little bit, and then I'll get to the music, and then next thing you know, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, one more game. And then it's like, I should have been in the studio all day. This is crazy.
I literally had to get rid of my PlayStation because I was on it way too much. Like, it was just I'm glad I got rid of it before Fortnite, because I've just watched people play Fortnite.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I would be on that game.
Yeah.
I would call out of work and just play that game all the time.
That's the problem with me. I'm very particular about the games that I like, but when I like a game, it's over. You know, see in 6 months.
The last console I bought was the Wii.
Wow, really? Well, that's why you get so much work done.
Wii bowling in the living room.
The only game I play on a regular basis, solitaire.
Wow. That's good, though. That's a good habit to have right there.
Yeah. I find social media to be like one of the biggest enemies, and also one of the biggest, like, one of your biggest, like, friends at the same time, because it could really hurt you in the long run, but it could also, like, really boost your career.
Absolutely.
You kind of went through that transitional time where social media wasn't big when you first started.
It wasn't even a thing.
I think that really helped me, though.
Exist.
I'm telling you, when I first started making music, I was in a band called 1096. It was a Connecticut hardcore band back in, like, 1997. I was a kid with these, like, 20, 21, 22-year-old guys, and they were playing, like, heavy metal music, and I was screaming and rapping on the mic, and that's when I went from playing drums in bands to being a front man as a kid, and I'm like, I love this. This is the best thing ever. And we were very popular at the time and played shows all the time and played with really awesome hardcore bands that I looked up to even to this day. And I went from the era of putting up flyers and stapling them to telephone poles to now creating flyers and hoping that you can boost the post on Facebook. And am I going to invest $15 to boost this post? Am I going to put it on Instagram at the right time? Is it going to have this reach? It's the same but different. It's like apples and oranges, really.
It's a crapshoot.
It is, and I always tell people too, you can't rely on a Facebook event for people to come out.
Yeah,
you have to find that tactful way of talking to your fans. If it's one-on-one, you have to put in that work and do it. You have to go.
Yeah, there's still nothing better than a handshake.
Yeah.
My mom used to say this all the time. The term grosses me out, but she would always say you have to go out and press the flesh, which means you have to shake hands with people. You have to get in people's faces, but press the flesh was something that stuck with me. You can take it how you take it, but it ultimately means to go out and shake people's hands and show them that you're a human being and not a bot trying to, like, solicit them something, which is exhausting sometimes, because after you've done music all day, you've been in the studio all day, you have a show tomorrow. What are you going to do? Now you have to go through and you invite all these people to this show, and then you have to the key is, I'll give you a little free advice to people listening, is to go on people's Instagrams and to like their stuff and comment.
Yep.
Okay? If you just like it gets lost in the mix.
Yeah.
But if you comment with something relevant and awesome, not just like, hey man, dope pic, check me out for a follow, or, you know, that's corny. If you write to them and say, hey man, your artwork's awesome, I checked out this painting that you did and it's so great, keep up the good work. You know, if you're ever in town, let's talk.
Yeah.
And that means something to the person. You know, that's like, wow, this person actually took the time to really check it out instead of just liking. Cool pics, man. Send. You know, I like those too, but I know when someone is listening and when someone is trying to just grab me for a follow back.
I think that's big on YouTube also, where comments mean a lot on YouTube nowadays. Like, anybody can like a video, or just like on Instagram, anybody can like a picture, but to take the time and actually go into a video, watch the video, and pick something out from that video at a certain point, and then comment on it. Hey, at 1 minute and 58 seconds, I thought that was pretty cool that you said this. You know, that's going to get that interaction going right there.
Yeah.
And a lot better than a like.
That'll open eyes. If you're trying to get someone's attention, that'll open their eyes a lot better than just a like. Or, I mean, some people go through my Instagram sometimes and they'll like 6 pictures in a row, which is cool, and I'll look and I'll see that and I'm like, you know, hoping for the follow back and stuff. But I just really, for Instagram, I follow people that I find interesting and that I want to follow. No offense to people that I don't follow, but I can't follow everyone, and then my feed gets all filled up with pictures of cereal and cats and stuff. Love pictures of cats.
I love cat pictures.
But I've seen food before. I know what it looks like. I get it, or pictures of people drinking and stuff like that. I'm like,
I love the videos of people about to take the picture and then the friend like messes it up.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I want to follow that page.
I love it. They're like so ready to take that amazing picture of that great meal, and then the person comes with a spoon and just like smashes the cake or smashes like.
What's it called? What's the hashtag? Do you know?
I don't know.
I want to look it up because I love stuff like that.
So awesome.
I would live for a moment like that because people get way too serious over their selfies and their food pictures.
Yeah.
You're gonna eat tomorrow. We're lucky enough to live in a place where we're gonna eat in a couple hours.
Yeah,
just take another picture of order the same thing and just take a picture of it. It's great.
So, how many have you put any albums out, like actual like EPs or?
I've put out a few albums. My last album was a couple years ago. Was "Hate Me Quietly." Mm-hmm. Won the New London Whaley Award for Best Rap Hip Hop Album, which I thought was really cool. Scobie and I jokingly went into the mission of we're going to write a Whaley Award-winning album, and the thing about it was there's no swears on it, and it's clean content, and it's got like a positive message to it for the most part. So that in itself also showed like the local community that you can make rap music that doesn't have to be trendy and stupid and violent and about drugs and about guns and misogynistic and stuff like that. Just do whatever you want to do. Just make good music and people will see it. But I put out my first solo album in 2002. It's called Growing Pains, and it's not terrible, but it's not my best work. And then after that, I put out While You Were Sleeping in 2009, and that was my first clean album I ever wrote. And I told Scobie at the time, I said, I'm going to write a clean album. It took me 6 years. 6 years to do that. And I wasn't, because I was really into saying F this and F that and just shock rap. Because, Slim Shady and Marshall Mathers had just dropped when I was like, very impressionable rapper, and I was like, that is that shock rap you need to do. And in my head as a white rapper, that's what I thought you had to accomplish and make and like shock people into listening to your music.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I realized that I couldn't do shows at outside venues. I couldn't do shows for like community things or for benefits because my content was too, I had to edit some songs, and there was some songs where every other word I would be like, woo, yeah, woo, and my hype man would be like, and we would.
And that has to be hard too if you're trying to edit yourself live and then you like, I don't know,
mess up,
yeah. Forget the lyrics.
Yeah, you change you can only
so
change like the F word to punk so many times.
Although I will say, like, the first record single I bought was "My Name Is."
Yeah,
and back then they actually made
two versions.
A separate clean version where they changed the words to like completely different words. Instead of cutting them, it was like they actually redid the verse.
And I remember when I first heard that, when I got the Slim Shady LP, I was blown away because the lyrics that I knew from the radio were not like
50 Cent in the Club is another one. The edited version, a lot more people know the edited version than they do the actual real version of it. So yeah, you can do amazing things.
Why don't they do that anymore?
Yeah,
some people still do, but it's
rare.
I don't know. Rare. It's so weird.
Everybody's so lazy these days.
Everyone's so lazy, and it's like
and you can't understand them anyway.
Not to tell you, not to tell you an old man, but it's like everything's hey, hey. And I don't, I can't understand what these kids are saying nowadays. Punk rock, rappers, But really, I can't understand what these kids are saying nowadays.
Mumble rap. Mumble rap is live and kicking right now.
What's your opinion of Lil Yachty?
I don't listen to that type of Lil Yachty, 21 Savage and stuff. I acknowledge them as like doing what they're doing. I don't think it should be called rap. I don't think it should be called hip hop like that. Like, I'm with the old schoolers with that. I don't hate on them and like Migos and whatnot. I don't understand what it is. Like, it's singing and mumbling. I get it, mumble rap and whatnot, but I don't understand why it's so popular. I don't think it's good. Like, I don't like. It's not like the hip hop rap music that I grew up listening to. Because rap could be anything. You listen to rock music and people are like, oh, mumble rap isn't rap. But unfortunately it is. Because you have rock and roll, all right? And you have punk rock and hardcore and folk rock. Americana rock and doom metal, and
Soft rock,
and rock. Then you have jazz music that like made rock music, and it's all together. And unfortunately, we have to embrace this mumble rap as rap, I guess, or put it in the R&B category, But I don't know. I don't know what to call. Like, I don't know as like myself what I would even do. The thing that I do when I hear it, I just turn it off. I don't like it. It doesn't. Every song sounds super similar. It doesn't sound the same. I know what songs are what songs and whatnot, but it just sounds so similar that people aren't even trying. Where you listen to like 90s rap, which my passion, 90s early 2000 rap, it's like there's such a unique sound. Everyone was trying to do the same thing but try to sound different, because like Wu-Tang doesn't sound like Tribe Called Quest, yet they're both rap groups. Public Enemy doesn't sound like anyone that except Public Enemy. Even like 50 Cent, he's rapping. He could rap the same lyrics. He could bite like a Biggie Smalls verse and do it in his style, but it's like, oh, that's a 50 Cent song. Now it's like everyone's so overly auto-tuned. It's like even the new the new video. This is America. The new Childish Gambino. He's got the features in the background, the ad libs of the other rappers, the popular rappers, which was genius for him to do, because he can actually say featuring. And I'm a big fan of Childish Gambino. Like,
me too.
When I first heard him, he's got like that fast, swaggy rap, but it's lyrical and it's clear, and it's very like his lyrics are like well thought out and stuff. He's not just saying the dumbest stuff. So when he did This Is America, that is like it's very powerful song, but at the same time it's empty. You listen to it and there's not much to it, but it's awesome because there doesn't have to be much to it. Where you can have lyrical, miracle, spiritual in your stereo all day long, and that's great, and all that fast rapping and the conscious backpacker MC stuff, which I like also. But Childish Gambino showed that I'm gonna do this song that's going to be just as powerful. I mean, along with the video, it really helped too.
Without the video, the song's like...
I tried to listen to it in my car without the video, and it wasn't the same. Like I love the song and the video put together.
Did you hear the song first or see the video?
I saw the video first.
See, that me too, and I don't know what I would have thought if I would have just heard the song.
Yeah,
because it's not. It sounds too like the stuff that I don't like.
Yeah,
right.
But
I think I was listening to a podcast or something where they were like breaking down like why he made it and kind of what it's all about and all that stuff, and kind of the end that they came up with was like he just made this because literally he knew it was going to be popular. If he did this combination of things,
and he's super smart. He's no dope. He knows exactly what he's doing. He right now has like the world by the tail, and he's doing.
He does.
God, he's in the new Star Wars.
Yeah, and I mean, have you seen Atlanta? That show Atlanta?
Yeah, oh yeah,
I love that show.
Great show.
The episode where he dressed up as that creepy guy blew me away. me and App were watching it on tour because I'd seen it in the hotel room. It was me and Self were in the hotel room watching this, and it was one of those obscure episodes that doesn't really go along with the storyline.
Yeah.
It's just plop right dead in the middle where it's like, we're gonna try something new, which like dramas and stuff like that do that sometimes. They have the off the wall random episode where one actor's on vacation, so they have to do some kind of thing. And I was watching it, and me and Self are trying to figure it out. We're like, I know what it's Atlanta, but I don't know. I think it's one of those random show off episodes where like, hey, look what we can do. Nailed it. You know, it was crazy between Atlanta and Childish Gambino and Star Wars.
He's on top of the world right now.
Donald Glover is killing it,
and I love him. I mean, I absolutely love him.
He's awesome. He's funny and he's awesome.
He started off on that show, Community, and that was like a pretty big show for when it first came out, because it was a star-studded like cast. Like at the time, it was like Joel McHale, Alison Brie, and
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase was in it.
I've never seen it.
It went for like 6 or 7 years.
I never saw it, but I remember seeing
it.
It was
such a great show, and I think it just ran its course. But watching that show, if you go back and watch a couple episodes of that show, you can see yeah, I understand why he's big because it's like just from that show alone.
You just knew he was gonna be a star.
Yeah, like he kind of outshined even the name brand people in that show. So, yeah, it was an awesome show. But so you said you started off doing the first tour, which was it kind of flopped. The second one kind of flopped, whatever. Then you got in contact with the Demigodz.
Yep.
How did that come about, and how did that like happen where you got on tour with them?
I'm sure there's a real true story of how I do it, and then there's a story that I tell that I think of how it happened. which I mean, it could be either way. It could be a mix of both. So
Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose. We'd fight and never lose. For we were young and sure to have our way. Those were
I've been known to get sentimental with synonyms in a cranberry, the very thing, the elements. Remember when? Nah, dead and friend, irrelevance. It's never noticed when you only second guessing the present seconds I'm living this. Intermissionless artistry, honestly a vision of all I've seen on a beat. This isn't a hobby. It's principal diction depicting how history's vividly pictured the instance I spit it. I'll slow it down. You can wind 'em up, couch potato, but I'll be damned if I the whole crying about past times that define my goals. I'ma rise, grind, shine it right. My own the grass isn't greener, but there are those who won't say it. Every little bit significant in the mosaic. Learn the difference between gold filled and gold plated. Make real decisions, don't wait for folks to okay it.
the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose. We'd fight and never lose. For we were young and sure to have our way. Those were
So what's your golden age? Clive Campbell and Morris Heights, Modi and Starsky battling for the mic.
like Scobie at the time, Scobie, which let me reference, is my producer, one of my best friends in the world. He's the brains behind N.M.E the Illest. He's always given me great advice as far as like everything that I don't know about what I'm doing. He knows, and he does a lot of studying, goes to seminars and stuff like that, and does a lot. He reads a ton of books on how to do things the right way, where it helps me just become. I can just be an artist and just work on my persona and the music and whatnot, which is great. But Scobie had a studio in New London for a while with Chum, who is Apathy's producer, and he is a phenomenal musician himself, and Apathy. And he was like, oh, I got a studio with Chum and App, you should come hang out sometime. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a dream. I want to meet Apathy. Yeah. I grew up listening to his music. This is so crazy. So we were in the studio one day, and App forgot something at the studio, walked in, walked out, what's up? I'm N.M.E, I'm Apathy, see you later. And I was like, as I turned to Scobie, and I'm like, oh my God, that was so cool. He's like, yeah, man, he's just a guy, just relax. And I'm like, oh, it's App. And I was like listing off all the songs. I was a fan.
Fanboy note.
Thank God he left. It was just me and Scobie. Now he'll listen to this and he'll know the secret. So time passes, and there was unfortunately the Newtown school shooting. So they did a benefit show in New London, and I was doing it, and Apathy was there, and Swavsky was there, Scobie, and App came in to sign some things for the kids and stuff like that, which I thought was really awesome. And I was like, at that moment, I'm like, okay, on wax, he's a tough guy jerk, but in real life, he's like a real human being with a heart. So that was one of those times where I'm like, oh, he's just a guy, So I went up and introduced myself, and I'm like, what's up, man? It's my N.M.E. We met at Scobie's studio. Well, I don't know if you remember. He goes, N.M.E the Illest. He goes, I see your shirts on everyone all the time. And I'm thinking, I said, yeah, man, I'll do what I can. I'm trying to like just get out there and stuff. Inside, I'm like, oh my God, he saw my shirts. This is so cool. He knows who I am. And that was the last interaction. And then through the course of hanging out at the studio, we just talked a little bit more. Never once was I like, put me on, listen to my album, listen to my music, because I knew he wasn't the type of person. I hate when people like, oh, you rap, let me spit bars for you. Please don't ever spit bars for me. All right.
All right. So we're gonna erase that question at the end, where I'm gonna ask him if I can spit some bars for him.
I was like, if you have some bars to spit, just record it and send it to me. I don't want to sit there like, I don't want you to look at my face like this the whole time where I'm like, yeah, man.
Pretend to like it.
18 bars, 28 bars. We're at 15 minutes of bars right now. All right, I've heard it. So we talked back and forth. App let me hear when he was doing Connecticut Casual. He let me sit in and listen to a lot of the stuff because he likes to show off his music, which is great because his music is phenomenal. I'm still a fan. We're friends now, but I'm still a fan of his music above all else. I started as a fan. It's as long as he keeps making great music, I'm going to be a fan of his music. And it was Sailfest of five or 6 years ago. We were doing an impromptu show at 33 Golden Street. It was me and Scobie and Eric Lamb, and I just happened to be doing a song. This is how I do it. This is my side of the story. And Apathy and his wife just came down, strolling down just to check the place out, and it was right place at the right time. All my friends were in the crowd. It was my song. I said, put your hands up, make some noise. Everyone went crazy. This didn't happen, but I put it in the story when I tell people. I looked back at Apathy, and he was like this. Head nod. That never happened, okay? That, for the record, I tell people that. It never happened. But a week later, he calls me up. He's like, what are you doing next week? I said, nothing. Why? He goes, you want to go? He goes, we need someone to come help us out on tour, sell the merch, drive the van. Would you be interested in coming along? He goes, you'll be able to open for us every show, and, we'll talk about how much it's going to cost and everything like that. I'm like, yes. I'm going to have to quit my job again. Because, to tie into this, too, I went to go see when Army of the Pharaohs put out Heavy Lies the Crown. They did that reunion show at, I think it was Paradise in Boston. And App had invited me out to come hang out, which is great because that was going to be the first time I get to hang out. First time I met Self-Titled, first time I met Esoteric and Vinny Paz and all of them. And I've known Blackistan forever and whatnot. And I knew Apathy at the time just casually. But I went up there to go hang out with them as a guest. And I'm like, this is going to be so cool. I'm going to hang out as a cool guy in the back room. I show up. They're like, our merch guy canceled. He's not going to be here. I hate to do this, but would you mind selling merch for us tonight? And that's my thing. I'm like, I was kind of like, yeah, I guess I'll do that for you. I'll do you that favor. My goal was to sell everything. And guys, I sold everything. I sold every small shirt, 3XL. A medium girl walks by. I'm like, you need this 3XL shirt. Wrap it around your body. It's a dress. At the end of the show, I'm holding up vinyl. I'm like, I got one vinyl left. People are fighting for it. I'm handing cash. So at the end of the show, I hand them over the money, and they're like, where's the rest of the merch? I said, it's gone. And they're like, eyes wide. They're like, it's gone? That's a true story. I'm like, I was like, guys, I sold all of it. So, and that, I think, set up for the fact when they were trying to figure out who wants to go on tour with us. They're like, why wouldn't N.M.E be good? Because he sold all that merch, and I don't party, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I don't chase girls around type thing. I'm very focused on the mission.
See, if you want it bad enough, you're going to do what it takes to do it.
Yeah, I could have said no. I could have said no. I don't want to sell merch. I want to hang in the green room with you guys all night and bro out. And to this day, I've never met Vinny Paz. I've never hung out with him. I met him that one time. But he's like, everyone is always like, whenever we do shows, where's Vinny? I was like, I don't know. He's probably at home. I don't know. We're not. I don't know. I don't know where he is at this moment. Where's R.A. the Rugged Man? I don't know. It's like when I do a show, where's App tonight? Probably at home sleeping. I don't know. I don't keep tabs on him, guys. He's not on my hip. But he called me up and he's like, we're doing a West Coast tour. Would you be interested in coming along? And I'm like, of course. I remember I was at High Rollers Bowling Alley. Bowling with a bunch of people, and I took the phone call, and afterwards I was so excited. This is something cool. This is a step in the right direction after not being stagnant but being so isolated in town for so long and trying to when is it gonna pop off type thing. So on that first tour I got worked on more than I should have, and the whole time they're like, you need to rest. I was going to bed at 4 or 5 in the morning, waking up at 6, eating hotel breakfast for free because I was trying to save all the money I could. I never knew money to go on this tour.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting paid, at the time. So I was just eating free food and then trying to go back to sleep, but then packing the van. It's 9 a.m., waking the guys up. And they're like, you only got 3 hours of sleep last night and the night before. And the night before, you need to rest. And I'm like, I'm cool. Coffee. I'm good. So when I got home from that tour, I got strep throat and my body was so exhausted. I got sicker than I had ever been before. I lost 20 pounds in 4 days. I couldn't eat anything.
But I looked great.
I wish I did, but my eyes were sunken in my head, and I was like a ghost, and people were like, you look like you're gonna die. I had to call out of work. I realized that the most important thing on tour is, most important thing is making money, but the second most important thing is sleeping.
Which is super hard. I mean, the health side of being away from home and traveling is just so hard.
Yeah, especially interacting with all those fans and stuff and giving daps every night. I mean, we've got hip to it. We carry all the Lysol hand wipes, and we have the Purell on deck and stuff like that at all times. But you can't do it all the time. Sharing microphones with people. App and Self now have their own microphones, which this last tour I was going to get my own, because you do 20 cities, and who knows what opening act, what they got going on, and it's like they're like eating the mic, and then I don't know what mic to use, so it's like I might get my own for this next time, but
at least get a new wind guard or something. And just like screw on.
But after that first tour, I learned a lot. I learned as much as I could about like the business side of it on that first one, but the second one I was like, I'm resting more. I'm gonna eat right. I eat super clean when I'm on tour. Not when I'm home. I like McDonald's and pizza and stuff like that. When I'm on tour, we eat a lot of Mediterranean, and I eat a lot of vegetarian stuff, and just eat super clean and try to drink a ton of water. But that was the first tour I ever went on where he called me up and he's like, come on tour with us. And then after that, I wanted them to see that I was a hard worker and that I was dedicated and that I wanted to do this. So after that, I went on some tours with them, and then now I'm just a staple. Now it's like when they go on tour, I go on tour, which is more than I would have ever thought in my entire life for music going on. That when Apathy's got a show, now I'm coming with them. Which is great. It's like I'm honored to be in that slot, and I don't ever take it for granted. I'm never like showing off with that either. I never like put in people's faces where like, ha ha, because I'm not that type of person. I want people to see what I'm doing and know that it's attainable, and that if you do the right things, and you have your music has to be good too. Don't get me wrong.
You have to be lucky too. I mean, it's all these things coming together. You have to have.
Yeah, it's a perfect storm. It really is.
If you don't do one of those things, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and the most important thing is to never ever stop and never quit. Because I've known phenomenal, talented artists that don't make it in 2 years, so they quit. They don't make it in 5 years, so they quit. It's like I look at these guys. I'm like, listen, I started rapping in '99. Deciding to become a rapper in '99, and I've been touring for the last 5 years. So it's like that. I've been 15 years of nothing. Yeah, really, to the layman of doing nothing, of
15 years of setup.
Yeah, for the overnight success. Overnight success. It took 15 years. But I tell kids that all the time, and even like when I meet kids that come to shows, and if I'm doing like a community thing and they come up and they want to talk to me, and I'm like, anything, not just being a musician. I said, when I was growing up, that the era of my parents was like, you need a trade, you need a job, and that is it. And music, unfortunately, wasn't like to most parents wasn't like a job. You can't make money with that. Like, even with Scobie's parents and stuff, we've recorded his house, and it was just a battle because parents just don't understand. It's like Fresh Prince said. But I tell like kids nowadays when they want to listen to me, I was like, listen, what do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, I want to go to college to become, I want to go to college, get my master's degree, and I'm like, no. What do you want to do? Do you want to be like a fireman? Do you want to you want to feed baby tigers at the zoo fresh tiger milk? What do you really want to do? If you think like, what do I want to be when I grow up? No one ever says, oh man, I want to be an accountant, or it's like you want to be a DJ. Yeah. So just do it. Do music. It's a lot scarier in life to become that, but it's like I won a Whaley Award one year, and I gave a little speech, and with the theme of it was quit your job and make music. Quit your job that you hate every day. I'm sure it pays a lot and stuff. You got a job at EB, you're in the union, you do work, you're guaranteed a paycheck and stuff like that. You're not guaranteed a paycheck to make music, but if you just work your butt off, quality of life is way higher. You get to wake up and make music every day. If you want to become a zoologist or something like that, you wake up and you become a zoologist. You just do the little steps, and it's scary. It's scary. Life's scary. There's no guarantee you're going to do it, but if you fail, it's just keep failing.
At least you failed knowing that you tried. Yeah.
At least you did it. Yeah, at least you went and did it. And then if you fail, you're like, okay, now what? Life's not over. If you don't get to become a fireman, then just become an actor, become an accountant. You know, my mom graduated graduated college like later in life, and it was just like she was like, I'm just gonna do it. You know, I'm just gonna get my college degree and just become a college grad. And you don't have to do it when you're like in your 20s. Some people think that there's a timeline. You know,
I did go to college, but and I think now, if I was to go back now later, like I'd have a whole different approach because I have all this life experience of like now I actually know what I really would want to focus on and how much work I really had to put into it.
But I mean,
but
going to college molded you into what you are now. You got to think of it that way too. Because I do the same thing. I'm like, oh boy, if I could go back to 2002 when I first started taking it seriously and knew that what I knew now, I'm like, but I only know now because of all the failures that I had. I mean, I had failures like where it was like we threw the show and we thought it was going to be big and like 5 people showed up. And I'm like, all of my friends said they were going to come and it was going to be like a big, huge, awesome show.
Yeah. They're all liars.
Yeah, they lie to your face, man.
But that's one of those moments where you can hate your friends or you can just be like, okay, now what do we have to do? What did we do wrong?
You just hate them.
I don't talk to them anymore. Actually, no, you just.
No,
but
you
it's frustrating and it makes you sad, and then that's the moment right there where most people quit and they're like, "Oh, no one showed up. This isn't for me."
Yeah.
And that's, to me, it's good and bad. I always encourage people never to quit, but at the same time, if you're going to quit, get out. You're less competition.
Yeah.
If you can't hack it, then go.
Yeah.
Don't use up all this air if you're not actually going to put everything into it to really do it. Like, don't half-ass it.
I found it real quick by doing live shows that, your friends are important, but your friends are not is not what's going to make the show
and
what
also,
it is.
You
have to reach out to other people.
Absolutely.
You can't rely on this small group of people to come out to every single show. Yeah. Like, you have to have a bigger audience so you're pulling different people.
Ultimately, that's where I was spoiled in the very beginning, is because coming from Jewett City and having such a large group of friends that were into like punk rock and skating and rap, I pulled from all those like talent pools of friends, and they didn't care. They didn't care that every single show was the same set. And every single show, the same format, never changed and stuff like that. They were just my friends and wanted something to do to have a good time. So I almost got used to that, because I'm the type of person where I don't like to do new things until the old stuff is like completely like wrung out and dead. I do shows. I mean, I do songs still in my set from like the last 2 tours I did, 2 months, that are like 15 years old, 16 years old, and kids still love these songs, which to me is great. But at the same time, as a developing artist, you don't want that. You want people to hear new stuff and stuff. But I don't know if they like the old stuff. I'm going to keep doing it. I know the lyrics. I'm really good at performing them. The kids love them, so it's like, why wouldn't I do that? But I understand you have to keep creating new music. I like my old stuff too.
Yeah.
I was listening to your live video yesterday, and you had mentioned that you were working on a new album. What's the plans for that right now? Like, how is it getting developed right now?
Right now,
what stages are you in?
It's me and Apathy are working on it together. He's going to produce the whole album for me. It's big for me because for years and years, like I said, we've worked together but never like worked together. So he's right now. I've got all the beats that I'm writing to are all Apathy produced beats. He's gonna even if we get beats from outside sources, he works with these people that are doing it. So he's got his hands in everything. It's about 3/4 of the way written. It's rough copies are recorded and stuff like that. We're gonna go through and fine tune a lot of things. It's gonna be a little grittier than my last 2 albums. It's gonna have some swears on it. Not quite adult content, but it's gonna be. I did these last 2 albums, the clean albums, for myself and for the people that surrounded me, that love me. This one's gonna be more for fans that I meet out there that want that underground, that Demigodz, Jedi mind tricks, like, grittier, raw rap and stuff. And I get it. Like, I'm not too proud to say I'll never swear again, but it's not going to be classless. It's not going to be vulgar. It's not going to be like, oh God, turn this off. It's going to be peppered in there where the way people normally talk that you'll hear like on a bus or in the mall. It's
going to make sense. It's not going to be.
It's not going to be a Quentin Tarantino film. So it's not going to be Reservoir Dogs. But I'm really happy with it. The album's going to be called Die on Stage, and the reason I picked that is because I want every single song to be able to be performed live. Because most times you listen to an album and there's songs you want to hear live, and there's songs that are for the album that are more set back and like chill vibe ones. I want this album to almost be like an MOP album where every single song is like, oh, that one, I can't wait to see that live. I can't wait to hear that live. I can't wait to do that. I want everyone to be able to be performed live so I can just do it all. And I picked Die on Stages because that's where I live. I've lived most of my life on the stage, performing. And even when you're not, when you become an artist and have a stage name and stuff like that, you almost are always performing. And the world now is your stage because, like we said in the beginning, Daniel Johnston, my real name. I'm a different person when we sit down and talk and relax and joke around and stuff like that. And then when I become N.M.E the Illest, it's a little bit more of an escape and a character. You know who I learned that from, ultimately? Was from Shaggy. Mr. Lova Lova. I opened up for Shaggy in Honolulu in 2000, all right? And I got to hang out with him after the show. And he doesn't talk like that in real life. He's just got a regular voice. That's an act he puts on. He doesn't have the accent. It's just an accent he sings in. He talks just like you and I. And he was in the military.
Blowing my mind right now.
I know, right?
But he said, he goes, when he became Shaggy, it's like all his fears and all his like his shortcomings and stuff disappeared, and Shaggy could do anything. And when he hits that stage, like a superhero, almost like when Clark Kent takes off the suit. And when he said that to me, I was like, get out of here. Why? I've got like things you're self-conscious about, but N.M.E the Illest isn't self-conscious about anything. He's a rapper. He's in a basketball jersey, high-fiving people as hard as he can and stuff like that. But so it's really cool to do that. But the whole Die on Stage concept, it transitions to that because it's like I want to live on the stage, I want to die on the stage. Like that's where I want to be forever ultimately. And then you say Die on Stage is like, now you can take it as a double meaning, as I chose this life of being N.M.E, so now it's almost like a curse. Like when people come up, they're like, find out you rap, they're like, rap for me right now, be N.M.E right now. And it's like, it's tough. It's tough. I love it. I love the attention and stuff, but sometimes it gets a little crazy. I wouldn't change it, Like my last album called Hate Me Quietly. That was something my mom used to say. I took it from what my mom used to say when we were kids. I said it in my Kickstarter video where, like, you always get mad at your parents as a kid and you're like, oh my God, I hate you, you stomp your feet. My mom would just be cool and be like, all right, hate me, just go to your room, hate me quietly. Feel how you're going to feel, just do you have to do what I say. Like, and that transitions into rap music too, where it's like, I try to live and I try to, like, accept people for who they are, and I'm always bringing people in. I try to be as nice as possible, and I always tell people it's cool to be nice. There's too many tough guys out there that are being jerks, and I don't want people to hate me, like, or to hate on me or hate on my music and stuff. I don't try to give them a reason to. I try to give them a reason to like me. So, but if you're hating, I don't have time for that. So just hate me quietly. You can just be over there, or just I don't have time for the negativity. I just want to stay positive and surround myself with positive people.
For sure. You said you're writing this new album to be performed live. Do you think about like the call and response aspect to your music for when you're actually?
Yeah, especially for this album, I'm trying to do things that can be easily. I write songs now for this album where I can write, and I'm thinking, well, I want the crowd to learn it by this time the chorus comes back around again. If they've never heard it before, I want to make it easy enough for. Like a crowd that's never heard it to love it and want to hear it again, but at the same time I want some like real like rap heads to be like, oh, that was so lyrical, I caught some stuff. And I do think about the call and response a lot of times where I don't want to do it too much, but I leave some spots open in songs, even my older stuff, where now I've modified it into call and response stuff, where if you hear the recorded version you're like, oh, it's way different live. It's not as high energy, it's not as interactive and whatnot, which I've learned along the way is you can have the best of both worlds. Like you said, just when I'm writing, do I want like the crowd to respond to this? And if I do, I almost have to set them up. There's some songs where I'll stop them before the song and I'll say, I'll need your help on this. It goes like this, bada-bop, 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 and then I'll say, let's go. And then by the time that part comes around, they're already, I've learned that along the way too, where I can't just rely on the crowd to hopefully they get it. You have to ease them into it And in turn, it makes for a better performance because now they're educated, now they're excited, now they're anticipating what's happening. So
They're paying attention.
when that hook comes around, now it's up to them to show off in front of me, and that makes me happy also. But there was times where I tried to rely on, like, maybe they'll get it, and I'm put the microphone out into the crowd and it's crickets, and I'm like, damn it. So next show in a month, I'll remember this and stuff. It's always good with a hype man because the hype man, usually Strife is my hype man, and he's known that he'll do the response, but he'll like use a hand motion to the crowd, like you helped me on this, but he'll do it. It's different tricks you learn along the way. But the worst is when you anticipate the crowd knowing it and they don't say anything.
Yeah.
I haven't had many tough crowds like that, but there's some that
It happens. Yeah.
when I say hip,
Definitely
you say
happens.
hop, and I say hip, and there's nothing, and it's like, oh well, see you later, But I mean that was years ago. I haven't had thank goodness, I haven't had a tough crowd in a long time. We had a tough crowd when we did the show in Hartford for Sean Paul, and they wanted dance music and they wanted trendy rap, and this was back in 2004 when Sean Paul was popping, and we opened up for him, and the crowd just wasn't having it. They didn't hate us, but they didn't get us, and we cut the set way short. And I was rapping with 3 guys at the time. It was me and 2 other guys, and the third guy I'm like, thank you very much. And we got off stage, and he's like, well, we have 4 more songs left. I said, bro, we have to get out of here. That crowd is restless.
We do not.
We have to go. I haven't had a flawless rap career, and that was probably one of the most stressed out shows because I'm like, bro, they're not. We even had a crowd of people that we came with us, and they were like looking around like,
yeah, we don't feel comfortable supporting you right now.
but I'll tell you, we get off that stage, and for everyone that didn't go to that show, we were like, yo, this show was crazy. That show was awesome.
So tell me a little bit about like that first time you went on tour with App on that West Coast tour. Like obviously you were doing like some of the behind the scenes stuff, but you were also opening for them, it sounds like, on a bunch of those shows. What was that like to like open on a tour like that? Was that
It was awesome and scary at the same time. I had come from being the most popular rapper in our area to every single show. Everyone knew who I was. So when I said make some noise, everyone locally would make some noise, and they would put their hands up and they would sing along, and I was like very comfortable with that. So I knew we were going to be doing big shows, and I knew that Scobie and I had sat down and built this set list in my head of what the perfect set list for this short set was going to be. Like, I'm up, they see me, I'm down. Before they knew what hit them, then Apathy and Self can go on.
how long was your set?
12 minutes. So
All right, yeah.
they gave me 20 minutes to do it, but I'm not an idiot. If they love that 12 minutes, that's all they need. My set now on tour, after 5 years of doing it, is 15 minutes. It's the perfect set.
Yeah.
I don't need any more time for that. If it's my own set and the kids come out to see me, it'll be 20 minutes. Or, I mean, I can do up to an hour of music. If I'm the featured artist, I'll do an hour if you want. But the attention span nowadays. Anyway, I digress. I get off on a tangent. So, 12-minute set. Scobie and I sat down. We hand-picked these songs. We built it with sound effects in between so it could stop. I practiced my little bit of banter. The first show was Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was at the El Rey Theater. First big boy tour I've ever been on. We showed up to the venue late. I'm setting up merch like a crazy person, and all these kids are filing in. There's like 500-600 kids here. I've never done a show this big for exclusively rap heads. So I'm like, all right, if I get on stage and I say Albuquerque makes some noise and no one says anything, or if they don't like the first 2 songs, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like that was the first time in my career of music ever that I was even remotely nervous getting on stage.
Is that how you judged it, by saying the city makes a noise and that?
Well, I was said I'm gonna say Albuquerque makes some noise in my head. I was doing the play-by-play as I'm at the merch table. Like there's still like 2 acts to go before I'm on, and if they don't say anything, I'm like, all right, we'll just drop right into the songs. And if they don't feel it by the second song, I'm sunk. It's going to be a long tour.
Yeah.
So I remember I had a microphone in my hand, and I'm on side stage, and I'm just like kind of waiting, and then they're like, And of course, no one pronounces enemy like they should. They're always like N.M.E, N.M.E. It's enemy.
Yeah,
It's like
enemy,
enemy at the gates, public enemy. You can say enemy. I'm your friend. I'm your enemy. You don't say I'm your friend. I'm your N.M.E. You know, it's an acronym. But yeah, just say enemy. It's totally fine. So they're like N.M.E the Illest, and I was just like, oh. So I get on stage and I said, "What's up, Albuquerque? Make some noise!" And everyone went, "Yeah!" Everyone went, "Yeah!" And I stood on stage for like 2 seconds, and I'm like,
yes,
I want to do this forever. I said, okay. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I said, I want to do this forever. And in my head, like, you know, when your mind goes a mile a minute, in my head, I'm like, I've worked this whole time for this moment. Mm-hmm. These kids are ready. Let's drop it. That beat dropped in. Kids' hands went up. It was a Scobie produced beat from my intro album. Boom, second song. Boom, third song. By the time the set was over, I'm drenched in sweat. That crowd was crazy, and I'm just like, this is.
I can die happy.
This is what I want to. This is what I want to do forever. So that was the spark that lit the flame right there. That showed me that every single show has to be like that. That I can't sleep on any show. I can't rest. I can't do anything. But now I've found the fine line after touring for years where if like, hey, we're in Vegas, we're gonna go gamble, we're gonna go check the strip out. You do that, I'm gonna sleep. We're gonna go to the pool, I'm gonna sleep.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a shower and go to sleep. You know, unfortunately, I don't get to do a lot of fun things on tour, but it's all fun for me.
Yeah.
Driving the van, selling merch, performing, packing up, rushing around, talking to promoters, shaking hands with VIP kids and stuff like that, meeting the fans. That's the most fun for me. Even days off, we had App and I, we got real sick on this last tour in Long Beach, and we took a few days off up in Northern California where Self-Titled's dad lives, and we went to Yosemite, him and I.
Oh.
We were super sick, but we were like, we're so close to Yosemite, we can't not go. So we went out there and we spent the day and we took some pictures of the mountains and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. And that was one of the limited times where we get to sightsee. We went to go see Goonies Rock, Haystack Rock, where the Goonies was filmed. And that was a last minute, like, we're going to be driving through this town. We should just kind of see if we can get there. And that was a cool time. But I don't have time to take pictures on tour a lot of times. I don't have time to, like, go sightseeing or go see the LA Strip with the stars and all that stuff. I'm literally in town. We drive into town. I take a shower at the hotel. I set up. I go to the venue for like 5 or 6 p.m. Unload, set up merch. Doors are at 8. I sell merch all night. I perform at midnight. They perform. I get off stage. I sell merch until 2, 3 in the morning. Pack up the van. Back at the hotel by 4. Catch 4 or 5 hours sleep. Get up. We're driving to Portland, which is a 6-hour drive. Let's go. We got to drive all day, you know, between stopping for food and gas and to take bathroom breaks. You know, I love it. Everyone's like, "Oh, what'd you think of Seattle?" I'm like, I don't know. We drove in, we drove out.
It's like the same as everywhere else. Yeah, it's amazing. All right, so we're gonna end this with 2 more questions.
Okay.
One from a friend/fan posted on Facebook. Kevin Stone.
Okay.
He wants to know if you like chaps. I don't know what that's all about.
I like chaps. Well, because they're. Here's the story about that. When I was in high school, I mean, I play guitar, I play a little guitar and stuff like that. It was a hit in high school. I wrote this song called Chaps, right? Went like, I like to wear chaps. They're made of leather and they have a strap. And it was like, I would sing it in guitar class. I would sing it all the time. I would sing it to whoever wanted to hear it. I did it for the talent show. And it was our thing. Kevin and I have been friends since forever, forever. And that was our thing. It was like my first song that I really wrote.
Your first hit
right there. It was so popular that there was a teacher in Griswold High School that was like, "You didn't write that song. That's from like a Saturday Night Live skit." And I was so like, I'm like, no, how could you? I wrote that song. And he was like trying to tell people that I bit it off like a skit or like, I said, find that song. Find the song that says Chaps. And the lyrics were like, I get the shoe polish and I paint my legs black. And it's like, no, it's a silly song that I wrote. But man, I still play it to this day and people get crazy over it. I mean, it's just a simple chord progression. It's got it's like the 4 non-blondes, like Bismarcky, you got what I need chord progression. But
do you have a recording of it?
somewhere I have a tape recording of me and my friend Nick Drain. We were up in his bedroom writing silly songs one day and recording them all. And we had this one song that started with Chaps. It was like the Chaps mega mix where we just kind of went and we played like all the songs we knew, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, and we just kind of transitioned it back into Chaps. And then we had a song called I Like Ska, and we made fun of like ska bands, which is really funny because now I sing in a ska band. Shout out to the Hempsteadies. But back then I was so into hardcore and punk rock music, to ska to me was like off the radar, and was like, that was silly, that was like fun, silly stuff. I wanted to be so tough. But now all I want to do is have fun with music. So singing with the Hempsteadies, it's like punk rock, reggae, ska mixed. It's so tough to call us what we are because we're just like a regular rock and roll band.
Yeah.
But now it's technically ska because we have a trumpet, and I mean we have like a horn section, trombone and saxophone and stuff. But yeah, there's a recording of it somewhere. Maybe I could try to find it. It's on some old cassette tape that my dad used to have, and he would like listen to it. It's crazy.
The last question I'm going to ask you is, if you could collaborate with anybody that's in the hip hop world right now, who would you want to collaborate with?
There's three people that I've always wanted to collaborate with, that I secretly pretend I am combined on stage when I'm performing, and who I styled my styles after. It's KRS-One.
Yep.
Because he's my favorite MC. I've seen him live. The way he controls the crowd and puts on a show is phenomenal. Chuck D from Public Enemy, because he's got the best in-your-face, aggressive voice, but smooth on the same time. And then Zach from Rage Against the Machine, Zach De La Rocha. His lyrics, his delivery. I tell people this: if you see me on a big stage with the Hempsteadies or at a rap show and I'm walking and I'm swinging my arm, I call that the Zach walk, because it's like when he was on the Bulls on Parade video, he's like strutting across the stage and he's doing like the fist shake and stuff. I studied these live videos because I wanted those the three front men that I'm like, these guys are it, and I want to be all of that in one. So KRS-One, Chuck D. Zach De La Rocha is someone I want to. I don't even know how to get in contact with his people or anything, or what it would even entail to do a song with him, to get a verse from him. But that is something that would be like my moment, because Rage Against the Machine is like my favorite band of all time, and everything he's done, Zach on his own, with I mean the Lyricist Lounge stuff and all the stuff he did that song with Run the Jewels, and he inspires me, and he inspired me as a kid to become an awesome performer. Even when I was in hardcore bands, I was still a huge Rage fan, so I was like, I want to be Zach. That's all I want to be. N.M.E the Illest wants to be Chuck D, KRS-One, and Zach mixed into one, and
those are great choices.
That's who I really try to make my voice sound like, and my movement sound like, and my songs sound like a lot of the times. But yeah, those are the three.
All right, so to wrap this all up, first, let's promote anything that you want to promote. This is going to come out probably the second week of June.
Okay.
So any local shows that you got coming out after that?
I'm doing, it's not my show, but I'm doing the Pumpkinhead Memorial Show with Apathy June 8th. So that's going to be in New York. So look for that. We're going to have flyers up for that and stuff like that. I'm going up there as his hype man and just going to kind of chill for that day. Because he was, I knew of Pumpkinhead, never met him, never knew him. But App and Pumpkinhead were real close. And after he died, it was, he's got a song with PH on his latest album and whatnot. And it's just, it's awesome. It's an awesome experience and stuff like that. For App to come invite me, it's going to be great. And then we actually have a show together August 3rd in New Hampshire at Cloud 9 in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. It's August 3rd and August 4th. It's like a 2-day event, and we're doing August 3rd, the Friday night. So it's
like a festival,
it's like a ton of artists that are going to be up there, and App and I are going to do that. I'm going to actually do a set for that, so that I'll be performing at that probably right before Apathy. So whenever Apathy goes on, I'll be right before him.
Nice.
And then just right now, to get at me, just at N.M.E the Illest on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Pornhub, Facebook. I'm at all N.M.E THEILLEST, or you can get on the Instagram for the Hempsteadies at the.hempsteadies, or just Google the Hempsteadies or N.M.E the Illest and find out where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing. The link for my Shopify is in my Instagram bio, so go buy some cool merch when you can't make it to shows. And I think that's it. Just it's cool to be nice, and just I tell people, just start being nice to people. That's it.
Just be nice to people.
I like it.
Jason, thank you for co-hosting with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thank you for listening. And I love you guys.
Or even what I'm planning. You can hate it, spread the word. Seems so simple, egos landed. Even manage, feed your ego. Rest in peace, you shake my hand and twist the knife into my spine. Still life is guided by my language. You're a servant to the serpent. Full tongue be coaxed in action. So certain to stay polar while we hung our coats and jackets. Rest high upon the hooks. You memorized entire notebooks. Every time you try to write, you're just reminded how my flow looks. You unoriginal, ready-made, cut it out. Thundercloud with the verse. You shake and shiver, shut your mouth. Guns are coming out, my fists are eagle cannon. One punch machine guns. Wake up home in your pajamas, surrounded by your fam. Asking who started the rioting. All fingers point to you, look like you're about to cry again. Ain't too old for the games. Cut out the beef like I was dieting. Million haters in the world, so if you hating, hate me quietly. Hate me quietly. Hate me quietly. Hate me quietly. A million haters in the world, so if you hating, hate me quietly. Drop this hot like lava lollipops in the sauna. Saying sayonara to your squad, goodbye, you're a goner. From the night to the morning, from the right to the wrongin'. While these verses come in hearses, take your life without warning. I'm over it, tearing down your cityscape. I totaled it, Asher off the chitty bang. I'm growing when I hear myself compared to BC's over beats. All you see is vanilla icing on the cake. I rock the shows, I wear the clothes. In fact, I got the flows, when no one knows is that I'm taking notes about your flow. It's whack. The one whose throne's been vacant long is back. The king of the castle who tortures rascals with a vengeance. My name in all capitals, acronym is embedded and entrenched in your mental. Be careful when you're eyeing me. Everywhere my people listen. If you hate it, hate me quietly. Hate me quietly. Hate me quietly. Hate me quietly.